Bizperation is the podcast for leaders, dreamers, and entrepreneurs that want to work on purpose and be inspired in life and business. I'm Christy Jackson, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, and I'm passionate about helping you succeed. And if no one else has told you today, you are needed. So I'm bringing you podcast episodes with real lessons and strategy that you can use today.
Hey, have you heard of Local Search? Well, this is your fastest growing nationwide directory for Black-owned businesses. Make sure you share with your friends and list your own business. You can do so by visiting our website at www.localsearch.com. And make sure you download our app. It's available in the Apple App Store as well as Google Play Store. Thank you so much for the support. And remember, buy local.
Let me officially welcome you to the Bizperation podcast, Ms. Vikki Jones.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, and you are the publisher and editor-in-chief of VMH magazine and VMH Media, really. We're going to talk about all of the many hats that you wear. But I just want our listeners to know what a treat and an honor it is to have you on with us today. You are a 3-time award-winning entrepreneur. You have your YouTube channel, which I've been on and watched some of your videos, and I just love your straightforward approach to getting down to the nitty-gritty about business and publishing. I love it. Your podcast, I mean, your publishing company, it's really amazing what you're doing. And let me just roll out this list of individuals that you've worked with. I mean, Ray Dalio, now I'm just going to put a pin in that one, because I just did a YouTube video on, setting goals and his book Principles, and how he just kind of put this out there that this is the book that every entrepreneur should have. And so when I saw that name on your list of individuals, influencers that you've worked with, I'm like, yes. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, come on. Sir Richard Branson. I mean, listen, President Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, Tyler Perry, like really? Yeah. And then I call him my bishop. I do have a church that I'm, a member of, but Joel Osteen is my bishop no matter what I go to.
Phenomenal. Yes, phenomenal indeed. I enjoy his messages and his style as well.
He's so authentic. So I just am saying all of that to say that I honor you and I just appreciate you giving us some time today. And I just cannot wait to get into the nuggets that you're going to share about your journey. And you know what? I need some of this advice. I want our listeners to benefit from this, but this is me and you. I want to benefit and understand how your climb was and getting into this field of, just media and publishing as a woman. So I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I like to share. I like to share when I know the listener or the person that's on the other end will actually take in and use what can be used. But the bottom line is implementing, some of the things that I had to learn the hard way. Because my journey, it's been well over a decade. It provides nuggets for other folks and their success. It actually does. But to go back into your interest in how I got into this line of work, it didn't start with media. Okay. It started with book publishing. And what had happened is I'd written a manuscript. I'd written a story. It was based around my life. I unfortunately lost my mom tragically and unexpectedly, very untimely. She was 37, almost 38 years old. Wow. I was 18. Wow. And so as a result of that, there was a lot of traumatic traumas that I didn't know were there. So fast forward 20 years, I'm in my 30s, and I felt compelled to write about it.
Yeah.
I felt compelled to write about it. Not only did I write about it, the story, I felt the need to understand. Writing out, and this was like not the vintage typewriters, but definitely not keyboards like we have now. Well, they were there then. I just chose the opposite instead of iPad or something like that to write. Anyway, so I decided to write the story with the purpose of understanding what happened. Yeah. How did this happen in my family? And through the process, I would pull out Webster's. I didn't have a problem with trying to understand terms and what happened. So I basically analyzed our family lineage, and I analyzed me. And it caused me to go through, like I said, my journey at that point, but also to release so much. And when I was done with the writings, it was like 1,000 pages of a manuscript, very thick. And I did that in 3 months. I disciplined myself to every day, 5 days a week, 10 pages when I got off work. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 25 pages. And so it ended up being almost 1,000 pages when I was done. Okay, so I'm done with the manuscript. And I knew, based on how I felt and what it did for me, that this was going to help a lot of people. Unexpectedly, I would, when a writer is excited about their story, be it poetry, be it financial literacy, be it a novel or self-help, when their cookbook, when they're excited, when they're done with that rough draft, they want to share it with other people. I did the same thing. And so I shared it with a few people, unbeknownst to me, when they would read a chapter, that what it did, it caused them to deal with such areas, like a 60-year-old woman, I'll say that. I didn't know. She read a chapter and she came back and said, "You didn't know this, but I was raped when I was 12.
Wow.
But whatever I'd written caused her to self-reflect, go back to that, and ultimately try to figure out emotionally how to deal with that issue that she hadn't dealt with when she didn't know how to, I would suspect, as a kid. Anyway, so I knew, and this happened with 3 or 4 people, a woman who was divorced, another person who went through something, just various things. So I didn't know this was affecting people like that. I was just happy about my manuscript that was complete, and I wanted to share it with people.
It's
anyway, so I went so I went to shop the manuscript to the major publishers.
Yeah.
And what I came to understand is with mainstream or traditional style publishing, it required that you have a very strong following, almost celebrity, politician, fame, because it boils down to the sale, and I get it, and whether or not you can sell X amount of thousands of books. No, there was a little interest in that manuscript, but not enough to where I needed it to get out. And so I said, you know what? There was another woman with a cookbook who had the same issue. She didn't know that she was going to run into this issue until I heard her talking, but she would have ran into the same issue. And so I said, you know what? There are other people in the world that have something to say outside of the fame, the famous, the politicians, and just that category of people. There are other folks that have something to say. And so I said, I'm going to learn this trade, and I'm going to make the way for those people.
Yeah.
That's how I came into the book publishing industry.
Wow. And it's, just in hearing your story, obviously your book provided value. Your story was valuable to those individuals that, read it. But in the eyes of those publishers, it just wasn't the same value that they were looking for. And so what about your personal characteristics caused you to press through that? You know what I'm saying? And not just be defeated by that.
I don't know. It's weird, but I think my natural build is when I believe, first of all, is my belief system. When I believe in something strongly, that fuels me. And if someone on the other end says, no, this is not, they say no, really?
Yeah.
Okay, but you know what? There's more than one way.
Absolutely.
You're saying no, but I'm saying yes. Yeah. And I'm going to find out that other way. My belief system, coupled with my natural character, I would say my build of no, you're not going to tell me no when I know I've seen proof that this works. Yeah. It will. It may not for you and your goals or your aspirations or what you're looking for, but it does at this level. And so because of that, in all things, from starting with the book publishing, going up into, the magazine and the media and the red carpets and the business advice, just everything that is happening and still happening now because it continues to evolve and doors open. When they say no, I know that there's no, an inside of me, my belief system says, no, there's a yes.
Yeah.
And because of that, that has fueled me to keep going. And then my other thing is, just say, for instance, there's an author or some new writer or somebody with a business, or they may have a new product. If there are two people in the world outside of family members, or it may be family members, the initial, your initial audience, but there may be two people somewhere in the world that purchase whatever that is that you have, or even like your show. Your personality is a winner. Social media, I've seen it. I didn't know who you were, but your personality radiates that energy. So with that, you're going to attract. If you can attract one or two to buy, to listen, to be on your show, you can attract more.
Yeah.
That fuels.
That's huge. That is huge. And you know what? We share a similar mindset with that, because, when I hear no, what I actually hear is no for now. And so it's like, okay, no for now, but I'm going to come back around to it. So you have just so many different outlets that you have, through your publishing. So I want to talk a little bit about your magazine. And this is just a curiosity that I have. What does VMH stand for? What does VMH stand for?
Okay, so let me tell you the story behind that.
Okay.
Initially, it was not that, because I started the magazine in 2012. Wait a minute, maybe, yeah, I think it was like 2010, 2012. And initially, it was another name. It included the term success, find success. The FIND was an acronym for Forever Inspired, Never Ending Success. Well, the way I got into the magazine part is whenever, because I have some books here, some of the books that we've published through our company.
Yeah.
So these authors, here, these are these authors. See, these are people. If you can see some of them on the back of these books.
Yeah.
These are real people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what happens, who've written, great works.
Mm-hmm.
So their books are there published, and I contact mainstream media, including for my own writings. And there was someone on the phone, maybe an intern, I don't know. And what she said to me was, I don't know that they interview people that are not famous.
Mm.
And so I was like, what? Wait, okay, so I just went through this with the book publishing.
Yeah.
That if you don't have the fame or the following, we're not interested. So media is the same way. I didn't know this at the time. Media is the same way. And so that fuels me again. I'm going to do something about this, is how I felt. And at that time, I was writing for a media entity in Orlando and a magazine out of New York. Mm-hmm. And so through that, I was able to learn what I needed to do, just some basic fundamentals. But I initially wanted to give voice to these people who could not tap into mainstream media. Mm-hmm. And when I did, oh my God, it just happened. I went straight to the top, to the mainstream. The folks that I intended for the magazine to be for, it went past them straight into the celebrity thing. And I was like, wait a minute. So I felt, I had to balance that. Now, since that time, I've grown to a place where some of those people that are famous, that have made it, those people had to start at the bottom. They had to really work to get to that place. Yeah. But I didn't have that mindset at the time. Nonetheless, so fast forward with the magazine, Find Success was the name of it initially. Then came a situation where there was someone else with another editorial or magazine out there who had the word success in their publication as well. And I was sent a cease and desist. Stop. That magazine had been in place for 4 years. And I was like, what? Of course, I don't have a legal team at that time, I didn't have a legal, and still don't have a legal team of 100 attorneys that can stand up and say, hey, no, we're going to fight this battle. It wasn't worth it. So what I decided to do was go with my maiden initials. My maiden my name is Vikki Marie Hankins. That is my maiden name. And so I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to trademark my name. VMH.
Wow.
And that's what I went with. With that, I don't stand the pushback of someone out there in the world as you're coming up, because at that point, you know, that other publication and the name of it, it was doing very well.
Yeah.
And but it did better when I let that go and trademarked my maiden initials and went forward. So that's what VMH stands for. It's my maiden name and trademarking it. And a lot of companies, if you look, for instance, Barnes and Noble, the bookstore, I speak of books and that, because there was a gentleman, Mr. Barnes and Mr. Nobles, I think in the 1800s, I can't remember their first name, but their names are literally Mr. Barnes and Mr. Noble that started Barnes and Noble. Wow. So there is historically, apparently a success when folks use their names within their businesses, trademark it, and there's no concern about somebody coming in and saying, stop using that name. Yeah. So I did that.
I love that. And, you know, two thoughts that come to mind for me is that, you know, you are your brand. I mean, you really are. And I love the VMH. It has such a strong presence.
Thank you.
Brand, and that's what made me curious about it. But even just the stories that you were telling about, even through your book and, you know, just coming up with the name, you have to trust everything you need is already inside of you. You know, your authenticity came through your story. You were being vulnerable, you know, being true, honest, you know, really wanting to inspire people, but first figure out who you were as an individual. And I think that's what attracted the success. You know, sometimes new authors are looking for the latest trend, you know, to ride on and, you know, trying to chase the money and the success, but you have to start at that core. And that's what's going to attract, you know, those to you that
exactly.
And that really,
I agree.
So
I agree.
Thank you. I love that. I love that. So this is what I want to know. What was that? You know, are you familiar with the book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell's book? You know, he talks about, you know, putting in 10,000 hours. And that's really what creates that trajectory shift, you know, in your success. So his book is full of examples of, you know, like, you know, the Beatles is one example that he talks about, you know, the fame that, you know, they had. And it wasn't just about their talent. They literally were a house band. I wanted to say that it was in Liverpool. And so they just played for everybody. They were willing to back up whomever. They put in the time. And so their success grew really from the practice that they had and them being available and accessible. It wasn't like, you know, someone saw them as this uber talented band and said, ooh, they're going to be successful. It was the work that they put in. So
right.
What I want to ask you is, what was that trajectory shift for you in media and with your magazine? Like, what was that article? Like, who was that star? Who was that, you know, focus of that article that you said, okay, we made it? I don't know. Was it Obama? I mean, was it, you know, who was it? What was it?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I get it.
What was that said? Okay, one of these kids is not like the other.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Okay, Mama, we made it. What was that for you?
Okay. So I've had a lot of those moments. Like, wow, is that really happening? Yeah. Is this happening? You know, and I still have those moments. It's so much fun. I kid you not.
Well, let me just say, this is one of those moments for me. I just want you to know, this is one of those moments for me. So let me just put that out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And you know what? I said I have to do this interview, and I'm pleased. I'm glad to share. I really do hope that there's something that I'm saying that that you can take away from, because I love your presence. I love your professionalism. I love your promotion and Bizperation. Yay! Because it has those two motivation, business inspiration in there. And I love that. So for me, yes, I will say, when former President Obama But it was even greater than that when I got there. For us to receive an invitation, wait, hold on, let me rewind. So when he was president, I actually was on a business call for small businesses, and the president was on the other end of my phone.
Oh my gosh.
That was major.
Wow.
What? I cannot believe Barack Obama is on the other end of my phone talking business, and I'm on this phone with them. And then Valerie Jarrett came in after him. But yes, that was a big deal.
Oh my God.
I think the first one for me, because it happens regularly, those moments. Well, it has happened more than one time. But I think the first one was where I received the invitation as VMH magazine on that side to come in where, Sir Richard Branson, and these things, some of these events, they ticket out at $10,000 a ticket. And no, Vikki, we want you in here to cover our media portion and to talk with these people. And I'm like, really? Okay. And so, but I don't think the branding is one part, but the other part to that is you really have to maintain professionalism for me, and then anyone, and keep your head level, even though it's heady, keep your head level and do your job and make sure that the person for me that I was speaking with, which has been a number of them, that they know that I know the subject matter and what I'm talking about whenever I speak with them. So even though I had all those, oh my God, I'm here moments, still it was important for me to make sure I get in there and dig in. But the other thing for me was, I think, when former President Barack Obama and that White House team in that business area, when they invited my company to be a part of something that you couldn't even get a ticket to, you had to be a delegate. You had to be invited. It's not, no, you can't buy a ticket. No, you have to be a delegate to get in here.
Yes.
And so for me to be, that was such an experience, because at the time, my company could not afford for myself and other team members to fly into this and all that it went. So here I am, a woman, because I'm the head of this thing. This is my company. So I had to go with all that equipment, with my cameras and my lights and my mics, and come out with the same quality that Forbes or Bloomberg or whatever would come out with. And then the other thing on the media side is to be there, and Bloomberg. I'm right here with I'm doing the same thing with Bloomberg. I have a photo of that moment. It's a lot of photos because I took a lot of them. Anyway, but I have a photo where I'm sitting in the auditorium where President Obama is speaking, and then there's Zuckerberg, and there's this one, and there's at that time Travis, I can't remember his last name, who started Uber. All these people, because when former President Obama did it, he brought in everyone from LinkedIn to Google to all the presidents of those major things that we use now. I'm sitting there in that auditorium, and I have my cameras, and then you have the big guys behind me with the big cameras and this and that. And, society and technology has advanced to where we can use portable things and come out with great quality. And I remember there was a guy behind me. He was pretty agitated about my being there because, here are these more compact sized cameras coming in, and you're in here in the same place that I am. And I've spent X amount of dollars on this and probably had to do this for 30 years to even get to this place. And you're in here. How did you even get in here? But the professionalism, the talent. So that's sidebar. But that moment was, I couldn't believe I was there. I couldn't believe I was there. And I was just so, Silicon Valley is a hub for the United States of America and other countries as well, in terms of what's coming out of there. Yeah. All these things that we use, I was able to walk on the street and see the platform that I use for my issue, ISSUU, when I give away the free digital, the office where the building, it comes from right there in Palo Alto. It comes from right there. It's Facebook right across the street. The main. So that was a major thing to be there. And then to be in that audience where President Obama is speaking and sharing, and it's like, wow.
Yeah,
But you know what?
goosebump moments.
Here's the other thing, though. All this, and when I look back at it, and once I got past the headiness of, you've done it, you know, when I got past that and got to that point, you know, it's what I know now is that's where I was supposed to be. That's where I was supposed to be. And why I say that is because the talent and the creativity that's within me that I had to work on and develop brought me to that place. And the talent and the creativity that's within all of us will take us to those places if we take the time to develop it. And when you get to those places, even once you get past the headiness, you'll know this is where I belong. This is where I'm supposed to be. So those two, I think, were the one where Sir Richard Branson and Ray Dalio, that was enough just to be there. Mark Cuban, you know, just to be. Ariana Huffington started Huffington. But what I realized too, like even with Ariana Huffington, when I met her and asked a couple of questions and whatnot, one of the things that I realized is the line of work that she was in when she started HuffPost, because she sold that, it got to be so exhausting. She ended up having an accident there because it was so exhausting for her, and started thinking of the health component of our lives versus, you know, that building business and all that. But anyway, when I met her and I listened and I did more research, I realized the line of work that she's in, I'm doing the same thing, you know. And so sometimes in meeting some of these people, especially when they're down to earth, especially because most of the ones that I met down to earth, you know, but the thing of it is I was able to see the parallel in the line, in the work and the work ethics that matters. So I've had plenty of those moments, but I would say the two that stand out the most is going in, were Sir Richard Branson and former President Obama. And during that time, one more thing, during that time with President Obama, there was someone who was trying to, at the place, that was trying to give me friction for me not to be able to go in to the auditorium where President Obama was speaking. And someone from the White House there from the business side told her, no, you let Vikki in. She's going in there. I didn't know these people. They knew me. They said, oh, VMH magazine? We know. Yes, we know you. And it was mind boggling. How do you, I'm this little and this thick. But no, of course, it's the White House, so they're going to do all the security. But just the fact that they were able to say, no, we know you. You are getting in. Ma'am, I don't know who you are. I know you're on staff and you're on detail here. But this lady is going in here where President Obama's at.
Wow. Wow. That just kind of speaks to that idea, you know, that your talent can open doors for you, but your character, your reputation, your discipline is what keeps you there, you know. So that is just amazing. That's amazing to just think back to this first book that you wrote, you know, just pouring out your story and look at where your journey has led you. I mean, look at where it has led you. So if anybody listening or watching is thinking about, you know, starting a publishing company or a media company, what would you say the first thing is that they should do? What's the first thing that they should do?
Okay, so I'm really not trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell, but I have to say this because what I did, because with anything, as you grow into different levels, you grow into different markets, and you go into the bottom line is you go into different price points.
Yes.
The price point where we are now and where we're going, especially on the self-publishing side and what we do with the books, in addition to, you know, publishing a book, it's at a different price point. And I understand that price point is not the average family or author or writer cannot come with that type of cash. Yeah. So, and then too, I know how I started. I started with zero. I didn't have any investors. You know, I had to figure it out. I had to get in there, my phone at the time and my brain, and understanding more about my talent, because I was going on the law and politics side. It's where that's my education is in. Nonetheless, so everyone doesn't have a lot of startup funding. Everyone doesn't have $10,000 they can whip out for their dream. On that level. So the first thing that I would say and this is not a sale, because again, I do have selling points, but this is not one of them. This piece is simply for people who are trying to get started. Anything that I would say vocally is right here. For those who want to publish a book, or for those who want to start a company, what I did when I knew that I was going into another place, another level, and at another price point with evolving as a businesswoman and as a company, and for that target audience that I was looking for, I did not want to leave out the people who are not at the price point where I am now, who have a more modest budget, who have to, wait a minute, I want to include this and I want to do this, but I also want to make sure I can't, not have food to eat because I want to do this. So this book is where I would tell people to go. And it's at VMH. It's a book that I wrote, and it's called Words Unleash, Publish, Market, and Sell Books Professionally. And like it says, publish, market, and sell books professionally. Yeah. The system that I used to assist authors to publish books, to get the books distributed to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart.com sometimes, to have a hardback or a paperback. What I use is in this book. Wow. The things that I did to do that is in this book. Why would I give away those secrets?
Yeah, trade secrets, right?
Because the reality is, I want people to succeed. The other piece is why, because I know I've grown to another place, and there's something greater waiting for me as a person. The company will still do what it does, but I'm just saying, as a person, I have to go to this other place. Yeah. But I also want to make sure the people at the place where I have to leave have what they need. Yeah. They have to have what they need. And I don't have any reservations, because those trade secrets that you spoke of, there's more for me.
Yes.
These people need to have what they need to have. So that's why I did that. But if a person, just to go from a verbal standpoint, so I would tell folks, number one, go and buy this. It's $21.99. I think on the website it's $20 plus shipping. But nonetheless, go to vmhpublishing.com and buy this. That would be the number one thing for those who want to get into the book publishing business, and also for those that are looking to publish their books or to start writing. This covers those areas. Here's what it covers: manuscript preparation, sell more copies, literary agents, how to write your voice, bestseller list overview, distribution, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and enjoying the victories. Anyway, so those are just a few of the topics. But to vocalize or to verbally share, if a person wanted to write a book, okay. So what I would do, and there's something that they want to say. There's two ways that can happen. One is you're inspired. For me, when I wrote, I felt compelled. I was inspired to sit down and do it. For those that doesn't necessarily have the inspiration, but they know they have something that's bottled up inside, I would say, okay, sit down and write out, whether it's on your iPad, even on your phone, on your notes if you had it, or pen and paper if you want to go old school or traditional writing, is to write out an outline of what you want to talk about. What is it that you want to say? It may be five bullet points. And it doesn't have to necessarily, I'm looking through here for another book. It doesn't necessarily have to be some long drawn out something. See this book? This is a small handheld. You see it's the size of my hand.
Yeah.
50 pages to the point. But what this gentleman wanted to do, he brought his debt down from $3 million. He had a debt of $3 million. The market crashed back in 2008 with real estate. So he had to bring his debt down and figure out how to do it. And he did it on his own. But he wanted other people to know about it. So that's what he wanted to talk about. Wow. So he wrote this. It's 50 pages. compact size to the point.
Mhm.
So if there's someone who wants to have something they want to say, they want to write a book, they can go with the outline, or if there's the creative side with characters and novels and all that, it would be to develop the characters. So there's different ways that can happen. Who are the characters going to be in the book? Sometimes it just evolves, so there's different ways. But if it was just a straight to the point, what do I want to talk about? If it's a self-help, or like in your, I'll use you as an example, Bizperation. What do you want people to know in Bizperation, or what does that stand for? Go into, okay, this is what Bizperation stands, this is what this means. Here's where I started. Okay, how do you get inspired to start your business? What are the basic fundamentals? These are topics that you're going to talk about, and it'll pour out.
Yeah.
Book publishing company. First, obviously, I would recommend that folks understand. Okay, why think about it? Why do you want to start a book publishing company? What is it? Do you love books? Want other people to have a voice? Are you trying to make money? Which one? Don't let the money piece be the first one. But in my opinion, it just doesn't do as well. That's just me. Everybody that started their bookstores, Barnes and Noble, or either whomever, when they started, those people, Bill Gates with Microsoft, when they started, those people had Nike. I read his book, 400 pages. Phil Knight, when he started, he literally was a jogger, and in where he was in the 70s. And when he started, it was some passion with that. It wasn't, oh, let me make $5 million or $5 billion. That's not where he started. So one is examine why you want to become a book publisher. And the second is, laying out the plan. Laying out the plan. Again, like I said, in this book, do you want to go with the traditional way, which you're taking on the cost of publishing a book? Or do you want to do the self-publishing way, where you're getting your upfront fees? For me, I started with the upfront fees because, again, I started at $0 when I started my company. So where am I going to get money from to invest in an author, to pay graphic designers? So I had to do that way. The other reason why I went the self-publishing way is because I didn't want to be in a position of becoming an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, people have always felt they were cheated on. Well, a lot of folks cheated in their royalties, whether it's music, whether it's books, this, that, and other. I didn't want to be on the other side of that. The only thing I wanted to do is get great works, great writings, professional appeal, just like mainstream, on the market for people to be able to read and enjoy the books. Not go into, oh, you cheated me out of 5 cents on my $1 royalty. I didn't know. So I set it up in a way to where people can see for themselves, this is what you're sold. I don't care if 5,000 people have told you they bought it. Here are the facts. Or if you thought you made, 200 sales, but you actually made 2,000, yay you, and you get all your money. So figuring out, for the one who wants to publish, start a publishing company, figure out how you want to go about it, because there's different ways that you can set up the website, put your packages out there. If you want to do the self-publishing side, or if you want to do the traditional side, determine what type of books you want to publish. If you want to do the urban fiction or the poetry or the lifestyle, so the business structure would be. But this gives the tips even in that area, publisher or author.
We'll make sure we include those links, with everything, so that people can, get that book. That's really the goal of this podcast, is really to save people the stress and the struggle, that some of our, guests have gone through, that we have gone through as business owners, so that they can start their businesses on a strong foundation, or whatever really that project is, or that goal is that they're trying to achieve. So you've really given us some great nuggets today that we can take and implement tomorrow. So I appreciate that. So this becomes the fun segment of our interview.
Okay.
It's our top 5, and you might consider this like our lightning round portion of the interview. So if you listen or watch us on YouTube, this is not our top 5 business strategies that we add weekly. This is our top 5 about our guests. And so, Miss Vikki, we want to know more about you. So here's my first question. And what makes this fun is that it's top of mind. Don't think long and hard on it. Just tell us the first thing that comes to mind. All right. If you didn't run your publishing company, what job would you have?
Server.
Okay. Okay. In a restaurant?
It's so odd, but I like that. Only thing I don't like the feet part, but I love service. I love but it would have to be 5-star luxury.
Right.
You know that.
Wait, let me clarify. A 5-star.
Wait, not just yeah. I love that. Yeah, I love serving. I love serving, and for people to have a great time and enjoy and all that. So, sir, I think it would be somewhere in the hospitality industry. Let me say that, not serving, but somewhere in the hospitality industry.
Okay.
Serving is where I just imagine, but somewhere in the hospitality industry, 5-star restaurant, great meals.
Okay. Okay. Name one book on your bookshelf.
Oh, I am reading it now. Oh my God. You know what? It's The Richest Man in Babylon.
Ooh.
Okay. The Richest Man in Babylon or something. I can't think of the name of it. And I'm reading it now. Actually, I'm reading 2 different ones, but I'll just say The Richest Man in Babylon. It's the gentleman that wrote it he was born in 1800s, and they've republished it about 5 or 6 times, but it's inspiration for wealth is what it is.
Okay.
I think it's called The Richest Man in Babylon or something like that.
Okay. Okay. What is the best advice that you've ever received?
You can't save everyone.
Ooh, that hit me right here. That hit me right here in my little old heart. You can't save everyone. And that's so true. It's so
That
true.
was hard.
It's hard. It's hard, but when you get it, it is a release. You know,
Yeah.
I speak for myself. It is release. You know, you try to save everyone, but you just can't. You just can't. Yeah, that's good. So where's your favorite destination?
Aruba.
Ooh. I was wondering
It's an island.
If it
It's
looked
an island.
I wondered if it looked anything like your background.
It is definitely an island because I love water. Does it say?
And for those that are listening and not watching us on YouTube, she has this just amazing backdrop that has like ocean waters and it looks like palm trees behind her. It's so relaxing. So I'm trying to stay focused as I'm talking with Ms. Vikki, looking at her background, like wishing that I were on a beach somewhere. I'm telling you. All right, last question. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Yes.
Oh, you said not a lot of thought, but it's either one or two. It's either success or talent.
Love that.
I think I'm going to go with talent. Which all kind of goes gifts, talent, success. But I think I'm going to go with talent because I believe in talent. I think a lot of people are not tapping into their talent. And I think people do not give themselves the time or the focus or the energy to develop their talent. But if one does understand, take out some time to understand their talents that's inside, the gifts, that will lead to a great amount of success in various ways. Yeah. I believe that a lot of us have hidden talents that we don't seek to find, and we need to, like yesterday. Yeah. So I would say talents that folks were born with, because had it not been for that initial story that I wrote, I never ever would have understood, been able to see the amount of talent, the great amount of talent that has been that I have inside. I was forced to develop, which has not only opened doors for me, opened doors for other people. Yeah. So I would say talent.
Yeah, it starts with your yes, and it's amazing where your yes can take you. So, Miss Vikki Jones, I want to thank you for your yes. because look where it has taken you. It's brought us together, right? I mean, we met
Indeed.
because you followed up on a story of, that my husband's doing, work with our business through the community. And so it's just amazing where your yes can take you. So I truly appreciate your time today. I know our listeners and viewers were inspired. They have some nuggets that they can apply. And so if they want to follow up or learn more, or just, stay connected to you, how can they reach you?
So the VMH Publishing is the company, is one way, but for the most part, everything about my social network personally is I am Vikki Jones, and the Vikki is Vikki Jones. So I am Vikki Jones is one way. LinkedIn, of course, again, Vikki Jones, Vikki Jones, or if you just Google Vikki Jones VMH Publishing or Vikki Jones VMH Magazine, you'll find me.
Right.
And I do hope that those that are serious about what it is that they want to do, even in the business side, outside of books, those that are serious about what they want to do, that they do reach out, because the idea is the valuable insights that I've learned along the way. I believe that they're there for other folks to empower them.
Yeah.
For those that are serious. And I will be able to detect that because like you said in some of my YouTube videos, I am kind of straight to the point and I don't waste time.
And we love that. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
You are absolutely welcome.
The Bizperation Personal Think Tank Journal is now available. Did you know that your creativity is a valuable asset based on this? How you think determines how you thrive. The Bizperation Journal exercises the key thinking skills that make goal-getters successful. Get your copy today from Amazon or receive an autographed copy from the Bizperation.com website. We know that there are lots of podcasts that you could have chosen to listen to, so thanks for choosing ours. Go ahead and subscribe now so that you don't miss any episodes.